Hello! Welcome to another episode of Aventuras Culinarias. Today we're going to share with you how to make bread at home. Okay, so the type of bread we're going to make today is using this Spelt flour. Spelt flour is a kind of a family of the wheat that we use in modern times, but it's a very, very old grain. In Somerset, they start to some farms, organic farms, start to develop this wheat and have a nutty taste and is a bit stronger and has a lot of gluten and it's very good to develop the yeast and make it in carbon and make the bread to rise. We're gonna do the bread in two different ways. One gonna be with the machine, with the mixer, and another one gonna be by hand. To create the warm water, you can use half boiling water and half cold water, and you're gonna get the right temperature to use in the dough. The first thing you're gonna do is to put the flour into the mixer, and you're gonna add the yeast and mix all together in a low temperature, in a low speed. And with that you avoid to mix together directly the salt with the yeast. And then you're gonna start to put the warm water little by little, always with low speed, and then you can increase the speed, add the honey and the olive oil until you see that the dough is all together. That the consistency will depend a lot on the type of flour and the amount of gluten that the flour has. And once you see an elastic dough that work together, then you're gonna take it out of the mixer and you're gonna cover with the film, plastic film, and leave to double the size. I always prefer to do the dough with the hands, really. You just put the dry and the yeast together and you start to work, to combine. Once it's combined, you start to put the warm water. At the beginning gonna be a bit sticky, but after a while you're gonna start to see how start to combine. I don't put the salt at that moment. When I do it by hand, I prefer to put it later after the dough rise. So you're gonna start to work with your hand until the flour absorb all the water. As I say, it's a bit sticky. You can see that it's a bit sticky, but don't worry, that's part of the fun. And then you become more confident because you know that it's always working anyway. Then you put some flour in a table if you have a big table to work. Otherwise you can do it directly in the bowl. And then you start to put a bit of flour to make the dough work better. Okay, so just put flour in your hands and start to mix with the dough, and keep incorporating the rest of the flour, and put as much flour you need to make a dough easy to handle. The main idea of work the dough is to open the gluten, and that's gonna make the bread to have to rise And once you have the combination, you just leave it in a bowl, put a plastic film on top, and leave it to rise to the double. That's gonna take about 30 minutes, depends on how warm is your house. Well, you see that now is already double the dot. So you're gonna flat it down, put in a surface with a bit of semolina, and then I'm gonna put in the one that I did with the mixer. I'm gonna incorporate the salt, and also in this case, in this one I didn't use olive oil for the one that I did by hand. So I just incorporate the salt and try to put it down a little bit. Wow. Now I just put extra oil in a foam and start to divide the dot in different parts and put in the different forms that you have. This one is a form to do a circular bread. But then I'm gonna use another 2 loaves. Always put the dot no more than half of the recipient. Otherwise, it's gonna grow too much outside the recipient. You have to think that gonna grow like a bit more than half. Okay, depending a lot of how much water you have in the bread. And then I'm gonna do 2 breads, but I'm gonna put the breads directly into a stone that I have for pizza. So I'm gonna just make the form and put it into the oven at the bottom of the oven, so I can put 4 breads at the same time. So once you have the bread ready, you do some cuts, and we're gonna put the oven at 250. And this is important. We're gonna spray the oven with water to make a crust on the bread. Now we want to put quickly the bread into the oven, so we don't cool the oven too much. So put the other 2 loaves on the top, spray a little bit more, and we're gonna wait for about 20 minutes at 2050 centigrades. After 20 minutes, I'm gonna lower down the temperature of the oven to 220 because already create a crust. So now I want to be sure that is cooked inside. We can test if the bread, after another 10 minutes, we can test if the bread is done, just taking it and do some taps at the end, and have to sound as and is like hueco. I don't know the word in English, but it's a sound like a tambourine or something. And now the bread is ready, and just take it away from the oven and leave it in a rack to cold. Don't leave it in the same form because it's gonna get wet. Just leave it outside, and there we have this magnificent bread.